Welcome to Pacific Northwest Mike Check, where Mike Connolly, owner of Windermere Real Estate Central Inc. in Kirkland, shares his lifetime of experiences as a successful businessman, real estate broker, and Pacific Northwest enthusiast. Throughout this podcast, Mike will be interviewing passionate experts in the industry who will give you a new perspective on the world of real estate, business, and life.
Hello, and welcome to episode number 8 of Pacific Northwest Mike Check. My name is Sophia, and I have Mike with me on this podcast today and a very special guest. Mike, would you like to introduce our guest?
Yeah, I'd love to. So this is my lovely wife, BJ. BJ is a big part of our Windermere Kirkland team. She actually is a active, busy real estate broker. So we thought it would be fun to have her as one of our guests, and here we are.
Yeah,
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
If anyone recognizes BJ's voice, that's because she's the intro outro of our podcast. So it's only fitting that she's also a guest. Our first segment here is a piece of advice. So BJ, do you have any advice for us today, since you're also on the podcast, and maybe you two can give both of your advice? So
weigh in with this. One of the things that it is a very, very hectic marketplace. So the one piece of advice that I've been offering to my brokers lately, and I will today, is patience in this marketplace is so critical from a buyer's standpoint, from a seller's standpoint, is be patient with the process and listen to your real estate broker for advice.
And that's what I've been telling my clients as well, especially my buyers right now. It is a very, very stressful market for both our buyers and our sellers. And with the way it's going right now, I feel that soon, maybe in a couple of months, there may be a shift in the market, depending on, especially if we get more inventory, which we hope that's what we expect for in this coming spring market. So I've been telling my buyers, be patient. If of course, if they're in a hurry, that's a different issue. But if they've got time and they can wait, just keep plugging at it. Let's see where the market takes us, and just to hang in there and to be proactive, and hopefully we'll get them into the right property that they've been looking for.
Yeah, that's some great advice.
Good advice.
Yes. So that takes us to our next segment, which is open mic. And this is where people can submit questions that will be answered on the next podcast. And one of the questions we got today could actually be answered by you both. So it says, I've read blog posts of interviews of you two together, and I heard on the last podcast that your wife BJ was going to be a guest on the podcast today. What's it like working with your spouse?
To a degree. As BJ explained, we'll explain later, probably, but we really have two very different jobs. The building project is something that we'll talk about a little bit later as well. But our jobs day to day, as far as the real estate business, is she sells real estate, and I manage an office. But we're both owners, so it's like 24/7. Sometimes, everybody has it. You don't sleep at night for a variety of reasons. Oftentimes we're not sleeping at night at the same time, so we end up talking. So it's kind of a 24/7 gig, if you will, when you've got all these things going on.
Yeah, I can imagine.
What do you think?
That's absolutely. It's I think the hard part is sometimes when you come home from work that night, evening, weekends, or whatever, it's hard not to talk about real estate. Sometimes you make a point of, let's just not talk about work. Let's get out in the yard, do some gardening. Let's go for a ride. Let's just do something other than just real estate related. And I think that's the hard part. Everyone needs downtime from their jobs now and then, and for us both being in the same business, it's harder. So we have to really make a point of trying to make that happen.
Yep.
Yeah. And you two are a great team, and it seems like you work very well together. So that's amazing that you actively make time for other things as well.
Try to.
Yeah. So our second question, someone wrote in and said, I recently saw a job posting for a staff position in your office. Has that position been filled? And if so, do you foresee any more staff positions opening up in the future?
Yeah, good question. So yes, it's been filled. So we're pleased with that. I think we've got a good addition to our team. And as we grow, as our office becomes a larger office, we are definitely in growth mode. So as we grow, yes, we'll add staff, but down the road a little bit.
And we've also designed our office, especially in our admin area, to accommodate for that as well, because we do expect to
Our new office.
Yeah, we do expect to be hiring sometime soon as we grow. We're going to need some more support staff, so we plan for that ahead.
Yeah, that's great. Well, yeah, if anyone is looking for a staff position, just keep your eyes open, and we'll make sure to let you guys know when there are any openings in Windermere, Kirkland.
Yeah, we will.
All right. So, well, that takes us to our interview portion of the podcast. Well, BJ, you're now involved in the real estate industry. Has that always been the case? Can you kind of walk us through how you got involved in real estate and just tell us about your start to the industry?
Ooh, that's a good question. Well, I got involved in real estate, obviously, because living with Michael, he was a managing broker for many, many years. And before I did get started, I was doing a lot of part-time work, and also I had my own home business. And I decided that once our son was in high school and he was able to drive, it was time for me to kind of get a different career going. So I actually interviewed brokers for about a year because I knew how hard this business was. It's not an easy business, but it's a very fulfilling business. And I wanted to make sure that I was, going to be able to be successful. So I interviewed for a year, and I actually started in a different office because I just really wanted to build my own part of the business with my own sphere and to get it going. So that's kind of how it started.
Wow. May I ask what office you started in?
Well, I started in the Windermere office in Redmond.
Oh, okay.
We knew the broker there really well, and I just felt like it was a good fit to get my feet on the ground and get everything going.
That's amazing. So as a broker and an owner, can you tell us a little bit more about your day-to-day and how do you interact with the brokers and the staff, and what does that really look like for you?
Well, gosh, before COVID hit, when we were able to have everybody here at the office, I guess I really saw myself as more of a kind of behind the scenes. The brokers know that Michael and I work as a team, and that's how we approach our company. But working with my buyers and sellers, that was kind of my primary focus. But then as far as decisions with the office, we both would make those decisions. Michael definitely is a designated broker. So, but it was really kind of fun when brokers had a question that maybe was a simple question or they needed some additional guidance, especially with some of our newer brokers. I was just really flattered when they would come to me and ask questions, and I could help them as well. So, but that's kind of how I approach it, just as a support from Michael, and just kind of being there, making sure our brokers were enjoying what they were doing, always saying hello, how's everything going, being in contact with them, and just being a big support for what Michael was trying to accomplish here at our office.
And she is a big support, both here and at home, because obviously work comes home with us quite a bit. Yeah. And she's a busy broker too. She sells a lot of homes every year. So, but it does get into a question. So you and I have been involved in a building project for a couple of years. So, and we divided up the duties between, and we're very hands-on with it. But how's that look for the last couple of years? What have you been involved with? It's
been pretty crazy busy. Like you said, we've worked as a team. I think when we started off, it was definitely both of us working through the process of breaking ground, working with our architect, getting the general contractor in place, just working as a complete team with everybody that was involved in the project. And then as it evolved here over especially the last 9 months, with Michael really handling more of the back end of it. We're working with our bankers and working with our general contractor and keeping on budget, which is always important to us. I was able to step up and we found a really great interior decorator. So my job has been to keep the process going beyond just building the frame and getting the roof on. It's been hours of selecting, just the fun stuff, the light fixtures and the tile and the carpet and the paint, even down to door handles and the things that you think about when you're building a house, but only with a commercial building. It's kind of like you're on steroids, because not only is it a bigger project, but you've got to be ADA compliant, and there's certain different codes that the city requires. So going through all of those processes has been a really interesting learning curve for me. So I've learned a lot, made a few mistakes along the way. We've corrected those, but it's just been a pretty amazing project for us. And we just feel blessed that this kind of fell in our lap the way it did.
It's really turning out gorgeous. The funny thing, though, is with me, as BJ said, kind of on the behind the scenes with the banker and the contractor and project manager, I'll take people, which is fun. And we're only a couple months away from completion. It's fun to take people up there and show it off. And people still, we're just starting to put some of the work in place that BJ's been involved with. People will say, well, what color is this going to be? What color is this going to be? And all I can do is stand there and go, I don't know. I'm kind of excited to see it too. So it's been a very, very good project.
That's amazing. Well, for our listeners, can you kind of walk through, I know there's different levels of the building and some of those things that you've thought through that are really intentional, some of those intentional spaces. So what are some of those things for those of us who haven't had the chance to walk through the building yet?
One of the things that you said a long time ago when you first saw that building plan, Sophia, was this building really reflects what your office is all about. It's about collaboration. And we did a lot of homework before we ever turned a blade of dirt with regard to what we wanted that to look like inside. And because we're such a collaborative office, that WeWorks environment of collaboration, that model really interested us. So especially upstairs, it views to the west and to the lake. It's that WeWorks feeling, and people get excited about it when you go up and tell them about it. This is an area where it's kind of kicked back, relaxed. The deck's out here, bring clients up. Wouldn't you say? That's kind of the reflection of.
Yeah, that's how we approached it. It was interesting being in the business for so long and actually taking so many comments and ideas of what my clients have been looking for in their own homes. And so we use that as part of our building. In other words, especially here in the Northwest, we love light. We love it when it's sunny out. We want the light. So we just made sure we had a lot of windows. Our interior doors, our sliding glass doors with window walls. We wanted to bring that light in throughout the office. We wanted to bring in the building itself speaks Northwest. Our architect, it's kind of his signature to have a lot of beautiful cedar components to the building. We wanted to bring that into it, bringing in some of those colors, those paint colors that is really popular here in the Northwest. And so it's a building, but yet we wanted our brokers to come in and feel like it was more of an extension of how they would maybe consider themselves being in their own homes and having their clients come in and kind of feeling that same way as well.
That's amazing. Well, we can't wait until it's open and we can have community events and broker meetings, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Yep. So, the actual building has been in progress for about 1.5 years, but I can imagine that this has been something that you've dreamt up for a while. What was that? When did this idea come up for this next step, and what did that look like for you two?
I'd say it really started getting traction about 5 years ago. And, we could see, we've been in this building that we're in right now. We've been here 16 years, but wow. we wanted a location of our own. Obviously, it makes sense just from an investment standpoint. But we actually put in offers on 4 other buildings. Three other buildings. Yeah. Before somebody that BJ works with in the development world, who we actually were using for feasibility studies on the previous building, he obviously knew what we were looking for, and he brought in this beautiful elevation of a building. Didn't have any plans set for it yet as far as an interior goes, but that's kind of where it all started. So it almost got the painting occurred, if you will, when Jim, our project manager, brought in this opportunity, and he had bought a piece of dirt for it to go on to. So that's where it all started.
Wow. That's amazing. So for a moment, let's assume that I am a broker and I'm considering coming to your office or another office. Why should I choose Windermere Kirkland?
The first, and I'll let BJ speak to it too, but the first meeting is so critical, and it sounds kind of corny, and I tell people this, it sounds kind of corny, but one of the decisions I make with regard to inviting somebody into our office, and I have to think of it this way, because if I don't, my team here will go, Mike, what the heck are you doing? It has to be somebody that fits in with the team from a collaboration standpoint and have a willingness to want to be a part of that. But additionally, I want to think about that person as if they could come to our home for a meal and we would enjoy the company. So it starts there. And then it's full-time. It can't be part-time, the way we train, the way we do business, the way we take care of our clients. So that's a vetting point as well. And then you've got to have the passion for it. I talked about the 3 Ps of real estate being people, places, and patience. You've got to love people. You've got to want to serve them. And you've got to have the patience for your business to grow. If somebody's an experienced broker, they have a couple of those pieces in place, right? But that's kind of how I began. So long way to answer your question. It may not be a fit.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything you'd add?
He said it so well. No, I think that's just kind of our office. We are like a family. I mean, our office itself, we're part of the Windermere family overall, but our office, our brokers get to know our spouses, our kids. We're very connected that way. And I think part of that is just because of the atmosphere that Michael brings in as the designated broker. He when you're working with brokers, and even a part of his job is there's a high level of trust that has to be there because of things that can happen in the business. And our brokers feel like they can come and talk to Michael at any time. They can call anytime and get the answer and the help that they need. But at the same time, that trust, it works on both sides. So Michael knows that the brokers that he hires are, like he said, they're dedicated, they're devoted to their clients because it's clients first always. And he knows that they're working just as hard, and to develop that trust takes time. But Michael, one thing I've noticed about him over the years of, this will be 39 years of being married. He's got a really great judge of character. He just knows people really well, and he enjoys being around them. And he just wants to have brokers in our office that kind of fit that same mold and that feel the same way.
Yeah, no, I've seen that in person at your staff meetings, the chemistry that everyone has with each other. It really is a great thing to watch. And it's very evident that not just you two as owners are involved in everyone's lives, but within the brokers, everyone, they're all friends, they all know each other, and there really is that special bond. And I think that really goes back to bringing in people that fit into that culture that you've created so well over the years that you both have created. So it's incredible to watch. And for anyone out there who that resonates with, I know that you guys are growing. And so it's definitely something to think about.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. I appreciate that a lot. Your opinion means a lot because you talk to a lot of people too.
Yep.
Thank you. Well, so take us down the road a couple of years. Will Windermere Real Estate look different? I know you guys have the physical building, so that'll be different. But what does it look like in 5 years from now?
Yeah, so I'll let you go first. What do you?
In 5 years, I see our office, hopefully even before that, at full capacity. And I just see real estate, especially on the east side, continue to grow. Obviously right now the market is challenging. There's just no inventory. Land is getting scarce, but I continue to see people who are renting do eventually want to become homeowners. And that market will continue to thrive. I just see us growing, and I think also not just growing as an office, but growing with the community. We love to work with some of the organizations that we are associated with between KITH, or what used to be KITH, Attain Housing, Artists Out of the Box. We love having their work displayed at our office, and we want to keep that going. But being continue to be a community resource in that regard. And that's really important to us. And that's another reason why we wanted to build the building the way we did, is to bring that component in. So we're excited about that. And I'm excited to see that part of it grow.
Yeah, I think that, what you said is spot on. Our involvement in the community, I believe, will grow. That's on my radar screen, that we'll have bigger presence with Attain, bigger presence with the Kirkland Chamber and Kirkland Downtown Association. Kirkland, excuse me, is a very unique place, as you know, Sophia, and people put a lot of time and effort and contribution into, because Kirkland's growing and the East Side is growing at such a pace, and what our hope is we can, with the mentality of service, is give back and be a part of that growth. And so to answer your question, a lot of what Windermere Kirkland will be about is the same as it is today. Very collaborative, very high character, hardworking people. The investment in community and I think how the community perceives us as a resource will be at a higher level.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, can't wait to stay tuned and see that all unfold. And it's been, I've known you two now for 2 years, and I've seen a lot of growth, and it's amazing to watch it all happen. But over the arc of your career, how have your goals changed? I can imagine some have stayed the same, some have changed, and maybe looking forward, your goals will also change. What does that look like for you both?
Well, I'll go back a few years. So in 1985, we owned a little company called Juanita Realty. And we were approached by Don Deasy, who was one of the original Windermere owners. And he knocked on our door and said, "Hey, you guys kind of walk and talk like us. We're a little federation of companies. There's 17 offices, and we'd like you to consider being a part of Windermere Real Estate." So about 6 months later, we became Windermere Real Estate in Kirkland. And it has been an experience that at that point in time, I was excited about it, but I never would have expected to watch Windermere grow into 11 states, 320 some offices, 7,000 some brokers, and an incredibly respected entity throughout the country as our service company leads us, provides us incredible tools and marketing and community presence. So, so we've evolved with that a lot. And we both rode at the University of Washington, so we're blessed with being able to participate in the Windermere Cup on a very experiential level. I just continue to see it grow in that fashion as Windermere evolves. Kind of so shall we. But we've definitely, I kind of bleed a little bit of blue and white as far as colors go, but it's been quite an experience of partnership with other Windermere owners and Windermere leadership.
That's amazing.
I agree. Not else what I can add to that, but yeah, it's been.
Did that kind of answer your question, Sophia?
Yeah, it did. It did. So what are what are some goals moving forward then? If, that's looking back, what are some of the goals looking forward?
I think just that higher level of community involvement. We're currently 56 brokers in our office, and we will be a larger office. We're excited to talk to other people to join if it's, as you say, the right fit. And it'll be an office of 70 to 75. So our outreach will be greater. Our presence will be greater in Kirkland. Just we'll have a higher volume.
That'll be amazing. Can't wait for that. So that's all the questions I have for you both today. That takes us to our signature questions, which are 2 questions that we ask every guest on the podcast.
She's very nervous about these.
Yeah.
She's very nervous.
These are probably the hardest questions that we have in the whole podcast.
She didn't sleep last night. So brace yourself. Okay.
Brace myself.
I know this first one's very important to you.
Okay.
What does the Pacific Northwest mean to you?
I could go on and on with that question. That's just not a one-sentence question. I'm a Northwest girl. I was born and raised here. I've had the privilege of being able to travel all around the U.S. with my sport. I've traveled throughout Europe with my sports. I've seen a lot of amazing racing venues and beautiful cities. But the Northwest, it's just, it's got to be, it's a lifestyle. There's no place in the world where you can get up and be on 405 and you've got the Cascades on one side, you've got the Olympics on the other. So you've got like Sammamish, you've got like Washington. And of course, all the things we love to do. We're big time hikers. We used to ski, not as much now, but we love skiing. We cycle. Of course, my rowing is a big part of my life. It's a passion that I have. And there really is, the waters here on Lake Washington and Lake Union, there's no better water in the world as far as training and racing on. So it's just the beauty of the Northwest. I love living here. I love the 4 seasons. It's never too hot, never too cold. To me, it's perfect. So that's why I love it here.
I think that's the most passionate answer to that question we've got so far.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
Yeah. So here's the next one. It's a tough one. If you could only listen to one song for the rest of your life,
oh my gosh,
what would it be?
Okay. That's a hard question. Everyone loves more than just one song. Right now, it'd have to be at least 2 songs at this moment in time. Well, the one song forever would be, it's a song that Michael and I danced to at our wedding, and it's called As Time Goes By, and it was in the movie Casablanca. So that's kind of our song. Right now, one song I'm kind of enjoying listening to, especially while I'm working out, it's called, I'm not even good at this. It's called You Make Love and Fun, and it's by Fleetwood Mac. I just love Fleetwood Mac. This song, it has a great beat. I love the words, the lyrics.
Here's the question.
What?
You only get one.
Well,
so is it our song or somebody else's song?
That's not fair. You can't put me on the spot. It has to be both right now. So sorry, you just can't do one song. I'm gonna.
Okay, we'll give you a pass. We'll give you a pass for both.
Yeah, that's all now.
Good. Okay.
Well, BJ, thank you so much for being here today. Really appreciate all that you do for Windermere Kirkland, and it was so fun having you on. For those of you listening, make sure to subscribe, give this podcast a thumbs up. You can watch us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and our podcast comes out every first Wednesday of the month.
And it was fun having you on board.
Well, it was fun being here. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Pacific Northwest Mike Check. Tune in every first Wednesday of the month to learn something new about real estate, business, and life.